Let's take a look at all points right now, and then we'll do PARD.
Okay. So Winstead cases?
No,
No?
all points, 84.
All points. This is item number 84, case C14, 2019-0078, All Points Construction, which is located at 4507 and 4511 Vinson Drive. The requested zoning is from SF3 NP to SF6 NP. The staff recommendation was to grant the SF6 combining district zoning. The Planning Commission agreed with the staff recommendation. The proposed use is condominium development, I presume, and I'm available for any questions. Oh yes, it also has a valid petition of 40.93%. So it would require a supermajority on third reading.
Okay. We want to hear from the people that have signed up to speak. Let's hear from the applicant first. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Bruce Opperly. I'm a local engineer here for 35 years. What came to us was an existing subdivision of 8 lots. However, that 8 lots required 1 driveway per 8 units. And when we looked at it, we saw that we would build a lot of infrastructure for 8 units or 16 units if we could. And we recommended that this actually be turned into a townhouse site plan. That townhouse site plan has been submitted and is under review right now. This first exhibit comes from your city website that shows the location of our site, where the word site is, and it shows the zoning today versus the zoning proposed under your new rules. I put this in reference, we'll probably talk about it later, if in response to the people against it. Okay. This is the site plan we turned in. As you can see, it has 19 units, a single driveway onto Vinson. It is bound on the west or the north of this page by 2 railroads, the Bergstrom Spur, which was mentioned earlier, and the other railroad, which is Amtrak, uses that railroad, and Vinson Road. So we're kind of a narrow little project, and we had proposed these 19 self-standing townhouses. If we can go to the next one. I put together kind of this list of where the differences are between an 8-lot subdivision, what it would take versus what we turned in. What we turned in was a site plan, which also requires building permits, whereas a 8-lot subdivision just requires building permits, no site plan. The townhouses are freestanding, single-family homes versus single-family homes with or without ADUs. The townhouses are about 50% of the cost of a single-family home with or without an ADU in the area. There's 19 units on the townhouses. There's either 8 or 16 units on the single-family development. The unit density is shown there, and we propose that we have only 1 driveway onto Vinson because of the complications on Vinson. It's a very interesting road. That's all I can say. In the site plan process, we'll be required to dedicate additional improvements or right-of-way for Vinson itself. Under the subdivision now, we won't, and it'll just be what it is today. We proposed that vertical construction be pulled away from the existing homes as much as possible. We will be mostly 43 feet from the back property lines of the adjacent owners. There will be some that will be 10 or 15, depends on where they're at. If we build single family only, that setback's only 10 feet. So there will be a lot more open space under the townhouse example. Our townhouse example is 43% impervious cover. Single family or duplex is up to 45% impervious cover. Our building coverage is 19%, but under single family, it's 40%. So can I go backwards? What I put this in here was to show you that the zoning around this development is going to change a big time when the city adopts a new ordinance. And densities are going to pick up quite a bit. The neighborhood, we met with them twice in July, and the only thing we got out of that meeting was they didn't want us to upzone their neighborhood. It's going to happen anyway, and it's going to happen shortly, I think. That's all up to you. But we'd like to know what they also, I don't think they objected to the site plan. So if they have more, please let us know.
Thank you. Okay, let's call Ray Collins. Mr. Collins, you have time donated by Margaret Dunn. Thank you. And by Mario Cantu. Is Mario still here? No? You have 5 minutes, Mr. Collins.
All right. That'll work. Have the slide, please. My name is Ray Collins. I chair the South Manchac Neighborhood Plan Contact Team. Here's our residential core of solid SF3 zoning. There is no higher zoning anywhere, and the only non-residential use is the adjacent church to the north. We all know churches are a use allowed in any zoning. Page 52 of our neighborhood plan, the text circled in red and enlarged at the top, states for SF6 zoning uses should be conditional and may be appropriate when located next to more permissive districts or intensive uses. There are none as per the previous slide. Neither the neighborhood plan nor the May 2nd council direction to staff calls for greater density in our residential core. Council has directed that density be located on transit corridors and at Imagine Austin activity centers. The October 25th revisions to the Land Division Code rewrite indicate that the South First Transition Zone will be 2 lots deep, shaded in blue. And I've drawn in the maximum transition zone depth given by staff. Neither calls for greater density at this property. There is no council direction for greater density based on distances from the nearest Imagine Austin activity centers. The property is in the McMansion zone. There is not a well-connected street grid. There's a typical suburban street grid, which became even more disconnected when the UP Railroad cut it north to south. From the enlarged ASMP implementation map, you can see the property is in a displacement risk zone, not a high opportunity area. Once again, neither our neighborhood plan nor council direction calls for greater density. The latest census tract data give a median household income of $45,660 with 18.4% of the residents under the poverty line. The applicant said his homes will be in the 350 to 400K range. Bank rate mortgage calculator makes that an income of $8,000 a month for a $400,000 home. And here are the monthly payments for a nearly new 339,000 home nearby and a 399,000 home nearby. The result of this income discrepancy is shown in this graph from the city demographer, April 3rd presentation to the Environmental Commission. People with 50 to 100K household incomes will be added over time, and the light brown areas in the bar graphs will continue to expand. Residents with household incomes of less than $50K will be displaced, and the blue areas of the bar graphs will continue to shrink. And then in terms of drainage, why is this property only suitable for SF3 zoning at most? Here's the drainage infrastructure for the Vinson Drive property. Straight to Williamson Creek Greenbelt, the header shown in the black diamond. And on the flood pro map on the right, you can better see where the header empties into Williamson Creek Greenbelt. Greater housing density and more impervious cover will only further expand the new Atlas 14 100-year floodplain and result in more flooding along Williamson Creek and Lower Onion Creek. When the LCRA rain gauge outlined in black just upstream of this property registered 12.9 inches of rain in 24 hours, this is the water entering the geographic area of our neighborhood plan. Kevin Shunk of Watershed Protection tells us that this is now a 100-year flood. Greater housing density at 4511 Vinson Drive will result in even higher floodwaters in our plan area and downstream. And again, this property is suitable at most for SF3 zoning. The text and graphics for the 3 remaining sections of my presentation are available to you in the PowerPoint. The next section illustrates that there is no basis for adding density to a transit-poor area with a car-dependent walkability score of 25. The penultimate section concerns the poor quality of the site plan, as is now apparent from the Update 0 Master Comment Report. The last section invalidates a claim the applicant made to the contact team and again to the Planning Commission that a second driveway is possible. And I just wanted to answer something that totally wrong that the applicant said, and that is that this is going to be R2A. It's not going to be upzone. It's going to be limited to the same density that it is right now under the present code. And the driveway limits the number of units that can be built. Was that the buzzer I heard just then? Okay, that's enough.
Is Paul Thiessen here? Tyson? No? Yes? Did you want to speak? No? Okay. Does the applicant want to close?
I just want to respond to what Ray had said and go back to my exhibits if I can. Can we go with that first exhibit? He tried to do something similar, but he hand drew his in. I just copied mine straight from the city website. Can I have the first exhibit, please? Okay. And he didn't show on 2nd Street they're upzoning all that quite a bit. They've upzoned 1st Street quite a bit. Yes, I would still remain the R2 if I don't get this zoning approved now. That is true. As far as drainage goes in, we're providing detention ponds that will keep the flows leaving the site at below or the same levels. And I take his photos usually are not at the site. The flooding zone, I don't know where he saw that flow in the road like that, but that is not of the city's record. So that's just my comment on that. Okay. I certainly hope you approve us as SF6. I think we're just about a quarter of a mile south of the hospital there. We're going to be on the Bergstrom Spur. We've agreed to hook up to the Bergstrom Spur if that happens in a bike path or something like that. So just let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, that gets us back up to the dais. Is there a motion? Is there a motion on this? If we don't have a motion, it doesn't work. Councilmember Flanagan? Councilmember Flanagan moves approval. Is there a second to the motion? Councilmember Ellis seconds it. Discussion on the dais. Mr. Flanagan, you have a chance to go first if you want to. Councilmember Kitchen.
I'm not going to be able to support this. There's a list of reasons. It is in the middle of a neighborhood area, as both have talked to. Under the existing plan, it's SF3. Under what's proposed for LDC, it's SF2A, I think. It's not on the corridor. It's not on any of the areas that we've talked about in terms of increasing density. It's not aligned with the neighborhood plan in that area, and we just heard from the contact team on that. And so it just doesn't make sense to me as an area as per SF6. So I'm not going to be able to support it.
Further discussion?
I'm also not going to be able to support it.
Okay, we ready to take a vote? Those in favor of this item, please raise their hand. Councilmember Flanagan, yes. Those opposed, please raise your hand. Councilmember Flanagan and Councilmember Ellis voting yes. Those opposed, please raise your hand. It's a balance of the dais. This matter does not pass.